Today, I'm going to be explaining to you how to make a citation page for your utopia. The number one thing I want you to get from this video is please collect your web addresses as you're going through your project instead of having to backtrack and find them later. Excuse me. So if you pick an image or a quote from somewhere that you want to use in your presentation, make sure you copy down the web address onto the citation page that's on your Google Classroom. It'll be labeled citation page utopia. So it'll look something like this. Okay, so on your Google Classroom page, you're going to have a works cited page. At the top, I added this in because I'm going to give you some specific directions about how to cite for an image you find online. And it's a little tricky because the website I'm going to give you that will help you make these citations doesn't quite have the right category to make a citation. So this will be helpful to you. So let's say you are making your utopia and you want to create a society where everybody, let's see, what would you guys want? Where everybody has a fancy pool. Okay, we're gonna look up fancy pool. And you're gonna find one that you think properly represents the society that you want to create. So maybe you're creating a society where lots of people are musicians. You're gonna click on this. You might copy paste this into your PowerPoint or slideshow. You copy paste this into your slideshow, and then you don't want to forget to copy down that web address. So even if you're not making your citation yet, you want to click it, open it, copy that web address, and paste it onto your works cited page so that you can come back to it later. Let's say I also wanted in my society, I wanted everybody to have fancy sneakers. There was a dress code and everybody had to wear cool sneakers. Ooh, these ones light up. Excuse me. So I copy this image into my PowerPoint or slideshow. I'm sorry, I'm so old. We used to call them PowerPoints, but now that they're on the Google Suite, they're called slides. Okay, great. So these are an H&M shoe. They're currently available if you like them. They have a unicorn horn, sparkly heels, little eyes, and of course, what drew me to them, they light up. Anyway, I also want this address. Okay, so let's say I'm done with my utopia and I'm ready to start my works cited page. I am so happy with myself because I remembered to copy paste all of the web addresses that I needed from the images and from any quotations that I used. And I'm gonna turn these into citations. So to be clear, this is not a citation. These are not citations. A proper citation will look something like this. So this specifically is for images. Let me make that clear. Well, online images. So an online image, the first thing is going to be the creator's last name and then first name, the title of the digital image, title of the website, first and last name of any contributors, the version, so if there's a version of this picture, the number, the publisher, publication date, URL, which means the website, and the access date. So it's kind of hard to do this by yourself and to get all of the punctuation correct, and it's really helpful to use a tool. The tool I recommend is KnightCite. So if you type that into Google, it will bring you to this web page. Now, it cites all sorts of things. So when you guys are in high school and you're writing book reports, you can cite your book, you can cite an anthology, you can cite a newspaper or magazine. Here's where it gets a little tricky. So you guys are getting your images presumably offline. That means that you are not going to use this section. That's because this is for images you find in the real world. You are going to use online only. So you're going to click on web page or blog post, and you're going to fill this in. Now, this seems a little confusing because you don't think of images as having authors. When it says author, it's really asking who created the image. A lot of times online, you're not going to be able to find that information. But we're going to look and see if we can find that information for either of these. So flashing sneakers, there's no information about who took this photo, which is pretty typical. So we are going to say unknown. Website title would be H and M. Website editors, we're not going to be able to get that kind of information on a shopping website, so we'll just leave it at 1. I'm going to put unknown. We're going to call this flashing sneakers. Publisher would be H and M. Date published, we do not know. We're going to paste the URL. This was not found using a database. We do want to include date of access, which is today's date. We are going to submit, and it makes this nice, neat citation. So you copy, and you paste. Okay, so now I am done with this one. Okay, so we didn't know the creator's name. If you don't know the title of an image, you describe it. Okay, so we don't know if the photographer had a title for this image. Luckily, it had a little description here, but if there's no description, you just describe what the image looks like. We put the contributor and publisher, which is H&M. We put the website, we put the website, and then we put the access date. So a lot of your citations, even though there's all this possible information, you're not going to be able to get that much information. So let's do a second one. Since we don't have authors for these or artists for these, we're going to alphabetize by title. Okay, so this is already in alphabetical order because F comes before V. Now, another trick, something you guys are probably more interested in now that you see how much work it takes to cite an image. You can search free images, and there are lots of websites. Royalty-free means that you don't have to cite it. So they're just stock images. Royalty-free means that you don't have to cite them. So they're just stock images. They have different categories that you can go through. And if you don't want to have to go through all of the work of citing an image, this is the way to go. You can also look up free clip art. So as long as it's something that is free, then all you do is cite just the website that you got free images from, and you don't have to cite each individual image. So instead, I would go to entire website. Unknown, unknown. Website title is free images. Unknown, unknown. They are the publisher, right? Because they're publishing something on their own website. This you don't fill out because each of your images is going to be published on a different date. Submit. And you would only have to do that for all of the free images you got. So instead of citing each image separately, you can just cite a website where you got free images from, and you can do your whole slideshow with free images. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm recommending it, but I am saying that maybe choose your images carefully. Maybe you want to get several images from the free images website, and then you only want to pick out one or two where you have to make your own separate citation for it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using images from websites where they're not free. You just have to make sure you're giving people credit for those images, and it takes a little bit more work. But if you are willing to do the work, then by all means, please use as many images as you want to beautify your utopia. Okay? Oh, and we would need to move this to right here, because remember, this should be in alphabetical order. Okay? So your final works cited page, when you're done, you're gonna have all of your work cited, and it should be in alphabetical order, and you're gonna erase that red message that we had at the top that reminds you which things you need to include in your image citations. Okay? I hope that was helpful. I know it was boring, but it's necessary. Okay, bye.